to you.
Oh, the nose tonight on the Mac to the Future livecast. $4 billion gone, except there was 84 billion in total. Want to face group in time? Not until Apple fixes a built-in snoop. Sales might go up if iPhones were cheaper. I know, crazy talk. And Facebook and Google, in a surprise move, violate privacy agreements with Apple over iOS apps tonight on the Mac to the Future livecast. Who would have figured it? Yeah. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to our logo. Our opening credits just died. This is the kind of night. I got to tell you guys. This is the kind of day. Not just tonight, but this is the kind of complete monstrous crap day that I've had today. I bit the top of my tongue. I don't know if I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can see this. See that? I bit the top of my tongue. I don't know how you even do that. Then, as I was setting up for the show, Dave's Apple EarPods weren't working, and the cabinet where all of my hard drives sit collapsed. And it's like it's a conspiracy to make me an unhappy bunny, and it's working. It's working beyond their wildest dreams. And I gotta say, to see if this works, I'm stunned. Lower thirds, they worked. The lower thirds did work. Warren, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm a lot better than you're doing. I was happy until I got on the call with you.
I know, and then it just got really, really sad.
Now I'm just bummed out, and I feel like, I feel like drinking, and I don't even drink.
Oh, believe me, when this is done, I will be drinking. Dave. Hello, Dave. There will be blood. How are you today, Dave? Dave is frozen.
He's totally frozen, isn't he?
I don't think Dave is on board with us right now.
Dave's not here, man.
Dave's not here, man. Well, man. Dave, what happened, man? Oh, there he's back. Okay, here we go. We're going to go back to Dave, and we're going to do his lower third one more time. Hello, Dave.
How you doing?
Well, we're
tootsies off out here in Chicago.
Well, you see, you just missed my giant rant about everything.
I heard it.
Okay.
We're all caught up.
So I'm sad. I'm very, very sad. I am an unhappy person right now. But I'm still smiling. We're all sad. We're all going to drink.
Yeah. We're all cold. We're all cold and sad.
Well, some of us are colder than others. I'm guessing that, Dave, you probably have the cold record. What is it right now?
It is, last I looked, minus 15.
Minus 15
is that wind
degrees.
Chill actual or wind chill?
That's actual. Well, wind chill, I mean, the problem with Chicago is that it depends on where the wind's going and what direction it's blowing as to what the wind chill is going to be.
It is officially minus 13 degrees in Chicago with a wind chill of minus 50.
Well,
I get 11. It's 11 degrees for us here.
I don't think we're that bad.
11.
All right, so see, now you guys are forcing me to do this. You know, I don't usually talk about the weather on this show, but
this is
talk about the weather?
15 degrees here in Alexandria, Virginia.
I come in second place. Guys last.
That's the worst.
Dave wins.
Right
it's like a tropical breeze
At
here
15
at
degrees, yeah.
15 degrees.
Guy,
The coldest
got
I have
his
actually ever been.
Speedos on and your
Yeah. I was
surfboard
no,
out.
you really don't want to see me in Speedos. That's I
no,
used to have a pair. I had Speedos. You don't want to go there.
no.
The
Marcus
coldest.
is at minus 17. Wow, Marcus is
Wow.
at minus 17 there, and
Well, he's in Minnesota.
Yeah,
Minnesota,
Minnesota.
Minnesota got even
Minnesota.
worse. Yeah, they were like
Yeah.
minus 40 at one point.
they're
Well, the coldest
Uh,
I'd ever been with wind chill was when I was living in Akron, Ohio. I came out of my apartment one morning to go to work, and with the wind chill, it was almost minus 60. And I, like, 3 steps, turned around, went back into the warm apartment, and said, "Screw this," and just did not go to work that day. It's like, no. I'm not even going to deal with this. And then, but the actual, like, most biting cold that I've ever felt, I was in the same trip. I was in Reykjavik, Iceland, and Helsinki, Finland in November. And in both cases, there was lots of snow, lots of wind, and probably 0 to 10 degrees. But it was that wind that was. It didn't matter what you were wearing. You know, the wind was like, you know what? You're wearing all that stuff. We don't care. Here's the cold right there, baby. There's the cold.
Well,
All right,
I was in Antarctica with a Speedo, so there you go.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not believing that. I'm not buying that.
Just
Might
like
have
he's in
been.
Venezuela.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you don't want to be in. I'd rather be in Chicago with minus 13 degrees in Venezuela right now, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother podcast. Okay, we got 4 stories to talk about tonight.
Let's do it.
First one is Apple's first quarter 2019 results, and they were pretty much what people said they were going to be.
Yep.
Year over year, their revenue was down $4 billion. Now, iPhones were down 15%, but revenue from Mac and Wearables, home and accessories reached all-time highs, growing at 9% and 33%. And the iPad, this is something I don't think anyone has said for a while. The iPad's revenue grew by 17%. Unbelievable. So even though the iPhone was down, that was really the only part. Everything else was up, including services. So their revenue going forward, and they still made like $20 billion in profit and gave back billions to investors. So, cry me a river, Argentina, because I don't think you make $20 billion, you just kind of sit there and go, yeah,
And its stock went up 10% today. So I mean, it went up $10.
They're happy.
That's why I keep saying it on the show. I said they'll be back. It's just a matter of time.
And the crazy thing is, if they had, let's say that because they were basically saying that their guidance was about 88 billion for revenue. If they had gone to 90 billion in revenue and sold just a few more iPhones than they did last year, the stock would have gone down. So the fact that they didn't make as much as they said they were going to and didn't make as many iPhones as far as sales goes, and the stock goes up, this means to me that all they have to do is continue to sell less of everything, and the stock will continue to rise.
Right. Tim Cook announcing a couple weeks ago that it was going to change a little bit definitely helped yesterday.
It got people ready for it.
Right. He got people ready for it, and what he delivered was pretty much on spot of what they reported, and they're like, okay, we know, okay. So I think the initial shock of the investors kind of wore off, and they're like, all right, we see it's kind of going up. It's still going in the right direction. The stock kind of recovered a little bit since we said those bad news a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as you said, other things are kind of doing better than they were. The iPads probably did well because of the holiday quarter. They were really pushing them out.
Oh,
and they just updated them too, so that helps.
But they're every place price cuts. There were sales everywhere, so you could get the new one for the new, not the Pro.
Wasn't it like $329?
$250.
They had it for like $250 at one point for like Black Friday for the new 9.7 with the kids one,
So what you're telling me is Apple drops their prices and they sell a lot more stuff.
yes.
I don't know what to do with that information. That confuses me.
Which you go back and then this that isn't in their results, but Tim Cook had said too they're going to potentially lower the price in other markets, not necessarily in the United States, but iPhone prices might come down. So maybe they'll see the wisdom of this, and maybe it will increase.
Well, going forward, their revenue for the second quarter of 2019 is between 55 and 59 billion. Gross margins between 37-38%, which is pretty much where they're always at. Operating expenses, 8 to 9 billion. Other income, 300 million, and a tax rate of 17%. So Tim Cook is disappointed and said so in a monotone voice, wreaking sheer unemotional panic with analysts and investors. Now, even with iPhone sales down by 15%, this was Apple's second biggest quarter ever. So, yeah. I don't know, but everybody wants Tim Cook's head.
Nah, people.
And Marcus, way too much information, dude. Just saying, that's way too much information. Okay, Frozen Stream, yeah.
Frozen
okay.
Stream. Also referring to the to this broadcast every so often.
Yeah. I guess, and they're saying that your audio's a little low, Dave.
And you were cracking up. What Dave, was he crackling for you on the last
crackling?
one?
How is it sound now?
Who,
no,
me?
not you. Him. When he was talking last, I heard cracklings.
Well, let's. Dave, how about an impromptu test, dude?
Can you tell me that I was crackling? Because I don't think I was. Do I sound okay?
No,
now?
not yet.
No, you sound great now.
No, him.
Right.
Who's him? Me?
You. Yes.
I was
crackling for me. Yeah, but it could be me.
Okay.
You were sitting on glass. Okay. All right. Well, continue on.
It would not surprise me with the day that I'm having today. All right.
Just turn my volume up, so I should sound better now.
Yeah, and I turned you up a little bit too. So we'll see. All right. Okay. Next story. Yes. Group FaceTime flaw has Apple shutting it down. This is a story from the Cult of Mac. And you know what? I keep
everybody else in the world,
and the whole world, NBC,
and the whole world,
ABC, CBS,
the story that won't go away from every news source. Telemundo.
People can listen to you.
Yeah. All right.
But you have to do
the local school paper, the church, the church TV station. They're all doing this story. So.
And they go through all the steps that we're going to talk about here.
Yes.
Okay. Well, a bug in Apple's group FaceTime this was the thing that was like the big news. You could have up to 32 people at one time. Well, apparently they can all hear you. It allows people to listen in to who they're calling before the recipient even answers the call. Bug report was made by a 14-year-old teenager over a week ago, which was one of the first reports of it. But it took Apple 9 days to shut down group FaceTime. So apparently the way this works, somebody calls you on FaceTime, and whether or not you actually pick up on that call, they can hear everything that's going on. And I don't have it here in the notes, but there's already, shocker, there's a lawyer that's suing Apple because two lawyers, of course. Well, who else would it be?
I could be eavesdropped on. Oh my God.
Yeah, claiming that
they got to prove it.
Yeah, that he was in some kind of consultation with a client,
right,
and somebody was able to hear it, and blah blah blah. Yeah, but you have to be able to prove the whole thing, and it's like, you know what? Just why don't you just say, Apple, this is a cash grab. Send me money, and we'll make it all go away, because that's exactly what that is.
Yep.
And that's not to make light. Right. It's not. Yeah. Well, I don't even know if I have group FaceTime turned on.
You do. We all do. It was enabled by default if you have it. So, just to kind of clarify, if you call somebody on FaceTime and immediately after you call them, you could kind of add. There's a little plus. You can add somebody else. Right. If you add either the same person or your own number, that's activated this bug. I could tell you now. We could tell you now because it doesn't work right now anymore. So,
Right.
so and it was constant. Supposedly every time if I FaceTimed you, added you again, your phone would stop ringing and I would hear you uh, what you were saying, and in some cases see you on the video. The kid that found it, it was actually his mom that wrote an email
Yeah, it was
to the
his mom.
my mom
Over a week ago.
uh, over a week ago. She so she made a bug report. She emailed Tim Cook and she hashtagged Fox News and Apple. Um,
Fox News. Okay.
believe it or not, she did.
Yeah.
Um, so
Surprised.
the criticism she was getting mostly was she was the kid found the kid who discovered it asked his mom, "Hey, I should get something out of this," and he asked for one of the low-end MacBook Pros or a MacBook and an iPhone 10. So people are automatically like, maybe this is not real and they're just trying to get money, blah blah blah. Um, turned out to be the case. It turned out to be real. The press got a hold of it, and Apple shut down the FaceTime group FaceTime service on the back end, so you can't do it.
Right.
Um, so it's bad. I mean, what can you say? It's bad. We all understand bugs happen. The bad part is why didn't they respond for 9 days? And it's kind of an embarrassing mistake for a company that is very privacy oriented, because
Right.
in reality, this is like one of the worst case scenarios when it comes to privacy. People talk about Amazon listening to you and Google listening to you and tracking you, and I think that of all
Well,
the
the,
of all
but
the
the thing with that though is with Google and Amazon, you're actually paying for the devices that are, and you buy these things knowing that they're going to be snooping on you. So,
but but when they snoop on you, they're not. it- I know they're going
Uh,
to. First of all, I know they're going to marketing people, and it's not like they're marketing people sitting in chairs like with like things up to their ears saying, "Oh, you're saying that." It goes
no,
through all these
this is how I picture it.
guy likes French fries. I wonder what kind of French fries he likes.
Oh, we shall find out the fries that the guy
Mm,
likes.
but it's not like that. It's going through algorithms. It's going through databases, things like that. This is worst case scenario. This is like people
Individuals.
that could
yeah.
be listening to you. This is like husbands and wives getting in trouble with each other. Not that I have personal experience with that. This is could be lawyers. It could be really
But
a
that's why
problem.
that kid's mom is so upset.
Probably no. Well, if she was smart, she would have kept it to herself, and she probably could rule the world with the information she has.
Well, Dave, what
Uh,
do you think?
No, I mean I agree. This Apple should have reacted right away. It was 9 days. That's crazy. The I mean it's like Warren said. It's a bug. Unfortunately, it happened. I wish they would have reacted a lot quicker on it, but it is what it is. They did react once it was known, turned the services off, and they'll fix it. I mean it happens. It happens to any company, Microsoft, Amazon. I mean they're all going to have their known issues with this kind of stuff. It happens. I'm not defending Apple on it. I mean I'm kind of saying shame on them for not reacting quick enough, but it is what it is. I mean, at least it's now it's been acknowledged. They've turned it off, and they'll fix it.
Well,
we're
I'm
uh,
kind of the mind that this isn't the first time that Apple has received reports of a problem in software or hardware, and it's
Right.
taken them some amount of time to acknowledge it or to deal with it or what have you. And a lot of this, I just think, has to do with they have their internal processes that they're going to go through to do some verification before they
Yep.
just go ahead and the fact that rather than just saying, okay, we're going to issue a software fix at some point in the future. I mean, they literally just say, oh yeah, you know what, we're just going to shut this down. So
they're
I mean,
they're pretty quick with urgent issues like this. This is very similar to the Mac OS bug that was out there. where you were able to go into what was it?
Oh
You
yeah,
were able to go to user accounts and basically
root.
bypass the root password. That was like whoa, that's bad, and I think
That
they
was
fixed
way
it the
bad.
next day. Yeah. So when it comes to this level of badness, they don't screw around. When it comes to another bug or something that that's not like this, yeah, they'll say, okay, we know about it, and we'll go ahead and issue some kind of fix in the future. But when you're a privacy secure focused company and you have a bug that's either compromising the security of your laptop or compromising the privacy of your phone from them, they got to get their ass in gear. I mean, they have no choice. The fact that it took the 9 days is the problem. Is um, did they know and were they working on it at that point, or did they maybe they couldn't reproduce what was going on? I don't. Who knows? But they were slow on that They were slow.
Okay. Anything else, Dave, before we move on?
No, no, I think we covered
All
everything.
right. So Apple effed up. Next story.
They didn't
Should
do.
Apple create I love this, socio-specific iPhones? This is a story from the Wall Street Journal, which you can't read unless you subscribe. Ha ha ha.
I was gonna say.
Apple's sales in China and India seem to be mostly related to price in countries where there isn't a strong, similar to the US or Europe middle class with the kind of disposable income to purchase a phone costing over $1,000. This on top of a not from here mentality similar to the kinds of problems early European and Asian manufacturers of goods had in the United States. This is further made an issue because both of these countries, and we're talking about China and India here, are like singular monoculture with little from the outside world to compare it to, or where there is little diversity amongst the population. Apple does make some concessions in iOS to reflect the diverse group of people and cultures that wish to buy a smartphone or tablet, but the hardware itself is at a price that can be difficult for many financially disadvantaged peoples to afford. Now, how can Apple fight this with cheaper, less capable devices? Or is across the board price cuts digging into those all important profit margins a better way to go? And let's start with, let's start with Dave.
Well, I mean, I think price cuts could be something that's potential, but you know, Apple's never been known to do that. There were some discussions, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, but like in these countries that they may have to cut these prices in order to get these phones out there for people to buy them. Is it are they going to have less capable devices? I can't see Apple doing that. Uh, I just don't see it. And yeah, when a phone costs over $1,000, a lot of these people in these countries just can't afford it. It's just too gosh darn expensive. So I mean, are they in trouble? I don't know. I mean, China's just been a tough country in itself too to work in, just with the trade stuff that's going on. So yeah, I don't know what else you could say other than yeah, maybe they will lower the prices a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you think, Warren?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much what Dave was saying. I mean, I'm thinking of how they could come out with a less functional phone, and I don't think they would. I think if anything, they would offer maybe like another lower cost model, such as like the SE2 or something like that, which might go for a lower price and would still have all the same functionality, but they're never gonna sell an iOS device that can't do what every other iOS device could do. They just don't do it that way. Some features are different, like the Face ID or the 3D Touch or wireless charging. That's different, but as far as core functionality, it's not going to change.
Yeah.
Um, I also wonder about how something like that would affect people trying to smuggle things inside of in and out of the countries as well, which could happen or get things in and out. If you're offering a lower price phone in one country, what's to stop somebody from buying them there and trying to go somewhere else where they could sell them for more expensive price, or same with a lower cost device, do the same thing. Um, Again, what Dave said, Apple's not known to do either of these things, so maybe they'll just wait till these countries get richer.
Be a long wait.
Yeah.
Make some
Let's see.
money,
What
damn
time
it!
is it now? Um,
Come on, China, you could do it. Get a job.
I think the chances are what they would have to do is come out with phones that are less capable. Because I mean, almost every single phone that Apple has could be considered. Yeah, I mean, even the 10R. These are all in comparison to Android phones. Top tier uh, smartphones. There isn't really a mid-level iPhone that's out there. That's of the current generation. Now
But I and
you can still get like iPhone 7s, but even the iPhone 8 is still what would be considered a top tier smartphone in for almost any other company.
but even Android doesn't. Even Android phones aren't pretty much different features based on price. They're just a level of crappy build and speed. So
Yeah, found that
you
out.
could get, well, yeah, but you could get $100 Android phone that pretty much will do the same thing as $1,000 Android phone for the
Just
most
not as
part.
well.
Just not as well. And it's the same, Apple could do the same thing with that. It's just to have a slower iPhone, and they do. They sell, they try to sell slower phones for cheaper, or they have been in the past at least. This year is a little different with the 10R and the 10 S and Max, where they are at the same speed, and
Well,
it's the first time they've done that.
let me ask you both something before we leave this topic. With the incredible hot sales of the iPhone SE that came out, just over the last couple of weeks, do you think that could be kind of a test run to see if the market will accept a lower, I don't want to say lower quality, lower capability iPhone? Do you think that this could be Apple kind of testing the market for that?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just those were clearance units. I mean, it
Well,
was
they were
I think
brand
we
new.
spent, but they're brand new. They're clearance brand new units that they were trying to clear out. Um,
Right.
like I said, I had not seen Apple do that before, and it was very unusual. So I'd be very shocked. I mean, in fact, if you read off the top a little bit, the rumors about the iPad Mini 5, they're saying that it may be cheaper than the one that's out now. So there's rumors about that as well. So hard to say. I don't know
Well,
if the
all
SE
right.
is
Well,
going to be.
for example, say they come out with a new iPhone SE and it's got the internals of an iPhone 7 or the 7S in it, which they could easily do
Yeah,
with
yeah,
how much technology has changed over the last couple of years from when the iPhone 7 first came out. Just like they had the internals of an iPhone 6S in the SE.
right.
So if the SE2 had 7 or 7S components in it and sold for half the price of 10s, you don't think that not only overseas markets like China and India and other areas of the world that are developing, but even right here in the United States or Europe, I think that a phone like that would sell insanely well.
Oh, I'm not,
Well,
and I'm not,
you would
I'm not
just
questioning it.
you would just take. I mean, you wouldn't. They wouldn't do that. They would just take a 7 and rebrand it as something else. The SE sold a lot, not because of the cost, but partly because of
Because
the
of the
cost, but also
size.
because the
Size.
form factor.
Right.
So, I don't think emerging markets care that much about the size of the phone. I think if you took a, iPhone 7 and pretty much rebranded it as an iPhone 7 SE or whatever, and it looks like a 7, it would sell just as well if it was the same price
Right.
as what you would sell
It just
the smaller one.
it's just not
It's a
something
price.
Apple's done. I mean, I just
It's a
haven't
price
seen
thing.
Apple do it. It's all pricing. So if they I mean, just what we've observed and the way they've been doing things, it's very possible they could do it.
Okay, well, if
Hard to
they
say,
want to
but
sell more phones to emerging markets that aren't going to be able to afford
I agree.
$900 to $1,100 phones, we're talking one of two things. They're either going to have to do price cuts, which is going to dig into the margins, or they're going to have to come out with a less capable device that they can sell for less money. And sacrosanct to everything that Apple does, I think that those margins are like I think they would rather sell a less capable device than screw around with their margins.
But they're also going towards a services company, and I don't think they're as concerned as putting an iPhone or iOS device in emergent markets' hands as much as they are everywhere else that could have the services, because I don't think their services heavy in that country. I don't think a lot of the things they sell
Well,
would even be sold in that countries in India and
well,
China.
think about not so much India and China, but think about this: when you look at like an an emerging market like Africa. Okay, you know what? They're not putting in the cable infrastructure that we have in Europe and China and the United States. Everything is going wireless because of the size, and it's just you can reach much more people over wireless than you can with wired. So in a case like that, you're looking at most people's computing devices. The only computing device they have are smartphones. With that being said, Apple misses a huge opportunity to get into the mindset of people by not being part of that. And if the only way that they can get into a market like that is to sell cheaper phones, maybe even less capable than the current 10 series, I think they would be crazy not to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're going to have some phones that will make it back to Europe or the United States, or even if they just sell them worldwide to possibly, not always, because it doesn't always work out that way, but possibly to increase their market share, then, why the hell not? Not everybody wants a mega, a mega slab of a phone.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
you got some good points.
we'll see.
See what happens.
Okay, well, I guess I got the last word on that. Woo! Okay, let's see. Over here, we've got a couple of comments. Marcus is saying 8SE and that there's no sense in doing a 7 Series SE. The parts would not be available. Old tech now. And Frank Petrie says make an iPhone with less features for those who use their iPhone predominantly for consumption. Well, Frank, I think the problem with that is I don't think Apple wants to do tiered services. I think they want to have all of their devices being capable of using all of their services. Not necessarily everything that the 10 series can do, but certainly can get into all the services that are available within the iOS ecosphere. All right, the last story that we have for the evening is one that Warren put in, and Facebook and Google had snooping research apps in the App Store. And I have to say right off the bat that I am stunned, I say, that Facebook and Google would manipulate their users in such a way to get data to sell. I don't even know what to say to that.
Well,
So
they actually
Facebook is Facebook
They've
is facing
manipulated.
the
Go ahead. I was gonna
Facebook is
correct you, but go
facing
ahead.
the wrath of Apple today for misusing an enterprise certificate meant for internal use to get Facebook users to side load, which is something that Apple does not like, data harvesting Facebook research app that violates App Store policies. And as it turns out, Google has been doing the exact same thing. And here I am. I still am not getting this right. Why does that say? I'm just going to turn that off because it's not the right thing. Okay,
That's
so Google has done the same and have since apologized. The app was called Screenwise Meter and has been pulled from the App Store. So, Warren, this one is on you. Talk to us. Talk to us,
So here,
Goose.
so here we go, Goose. All right, Maverick. Uh, so the Google and Facebook, just to be clear, they weren't.
I'm on Mojave, man. Maverick, that was a long time ago.
Google and Facebook aren't trying to hide this from the users. They were hiding it from Apple. They told the users exactly what they were doing, and the users knew what they knew about it. So basically, what these apps were doing, originally they had a legit app, Facebook did at least, and that basically you would install, and once you installed it, you could do things on your TV, you could do things around the house that kind of tracked your watching habits, your viewing habits, your phone habits, your laptop habits, and sent it back to Facebook and Google. They use that to improve their services. They told them they were doing this. They were going to pay you. It was between 13 and 15-year-olds. They were going to pay you $20 a month to do it. Um, so these things are common. There's plenty of things. I do a thing where you could do surveys online and get paid. They're all over the place. You could do these kind of things, and the users knew exactly what it was. It was a little shady targeting young kids to do it who probably don't care about it, and the parents would. But that's what happened. Apple found out about it and said, you're not doing that. So then what happened was they found a way to have them go to a website, install a certificate on the phone, and go do the same thing that they were doing
Right. Well,
before.
this certificate was basically an enterprise certificate that and this is one of the reasons why iOS is becoming more and more popular in the business world. Is
So what happened, right?
these enterprise certificates allow companies to have custom built apps for their employees.
Right.
So what happens is some large companies have a certificate you install. It installs an enterprise certificate under your profile on your phone, and once it does that, the profile will allow the company to do a bunch of things. One is what you said, in side load company-related apps. The other thing would be to be able to monitor your device, also to prevent you from installing things or make you install things or force you to install things. So when they did that and found out about it, they revoked the certificate from Facebook. Once you do that, their enterprise apps that they sideloaded through it stopped working. So legitimate apps that Facebook were using to communicate with their employees or lock down their phones went dead. But that's how they got around it. Basically, it was an enterprise app. And then same thing happened with Google. They did the same thing. So um, Facebook is kind of not happy, and Google apologized. That's where we are.
Okay, Dave.
Yeah, no surprise with Facebook. I mean, there's just so much going on with Facebook now with privacy and people wanting to quit and want to leave. I mean, I was just watching This Week in Google. Mike Elgin's got the campaign going now, saying, "Hey, let's get everybody to stop, cancel, and delete your Facebook account, and go over to Google Photos. You can look at all my photos, and then there's ways of doing it this way." So, I mean, Facebook in itself, is under a lot of fire right now with privacy and with this. And what boggles my mind, if these were young kids, did these parents consent? I mean, if they're under 18 years old, they're not supposed to allow them to do that. So I don't understand that at all. And yeah, they shame on them for doing that. And they better. I would hope they would apologize because I don't think Apple's going to allow them to use these apps on their iOS devices until that is. And how are they going to trust them? That's the other problem too. I mean, are they going to do this again?
Well, when it comes to Facebook and Google and trust, I think that ship sailed a long time ago.
Quite a long time.
The difference now, I say that, but at the same time, I still use a lot of Google services.
No, I do
The
too.
difference is, I mean, we all do, and the difference is we know going into it what we're signing up for. The problem is a lot of people don't. a lot of people don't understand the nature of a social network, and it's not just Facebook. It's Pinterest, it's Twitter, it's all of these free social networks that exist really only to gather information about you and to sell that information or sell that demographic for advertising. This is how they make money.
Right, but the thing that happened here wasn't.
Oh no, this is totally a gross violation.
This is a gross violation of Apple, but the ironic part was they were very upfront with the people who were using this product.
Yeah, the people knew about it. Well,
if you go, in fact, if you go onto like one of the articles, embedded in there is one of Google's advertisements of the product, and it literally says, "You install this." It's like a cartoon, and it's happy as, "Hey, if you install this thing, and we'll know what you're watching. We'll know what you're doing. Hey, and we'll give you $20."
Isn't that great?
But they are telling you exactly what they're doing. So I mean, as far as we know, but they're telling you exactly what they're doing.
I mean, it still bothers me if these were kids under 18 years old. Did the parents give them consent to do it?
I would say no. Yeah. They probably didn't. They probably didn't ask.
Plus, they were hiding the $20 was drug money, by the way.
Hey, you got to get those mods for Red Dead Redemption somehow. Yeah. All right.
I need my hit.
I need it, man. Fortnite. All right, we are. That's the last story that we have for tonight. Let's see. Frank Petrie says that Facebook is a bag of hurt without any other baggage, and Adam says, or non-free Amazon. Well, Amazon. They do charge, but Amazon isn't really a social network. There are things that Amazon wants to sell you stuff, and it's Amazon stuff that they want to sell you. Whereas Facebook doesn't really want to sell you anything. They want to sell you to other people and other companies. So there's a difference right there. Okay. That is going to about do it for tonight. Dave, if people wanted to get a hold of you, and that's assuming that I can figure out where you are. Here we are right here. How would they do so? There we go.
They would find me on my podcast, In Touch with iOS, at intouchwithios.com. I'm going to invite actually the both of you to be a guest the next couple weeks here. So
cool. Yeah, I'm actually going to be on Essential Apple Podcast on Sunday, I think.
Warren's going to come on this next week, and then I'm going to have you the following week, so we have some fun talking about iOS. And then I also do a podcast with my friend Steve, Off the Charts Horse Racing. That's offthechartsHorseRacing.com, and we talk about horse racing. You find them both on in the iTunes store and your favorite podcatcher, as well as you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65.
I need to get that on there. I don't know why I don't have that on there yet. I know why. It's because I don't think about it until it's too late. Warren, how can people get a hold of you knowing that the answer is they can't?
What they do is FaceTime me, then the plus sign, and then FaceTime me again, and you'll be able to contact me that way.
Where are you? I can't find you. Where's your thing?
That's you, Mac Parrot.
No, that's still me. I don't have one. I had one for you that was like for Guatemala or something. There, I'll just do that. There we go. You're live in Guatemala.
That's how you can find me, live in Guatemala.
You should really move out of Guatemala. You should go someplace else.
It's beautiful this time of year.
It's 13 degrees.
It's not.
And we're not talking Celsius here.
No.
It's beautiful. Come join our group. It's all good.
Okay. If you would like to get a hold of me, oh my God, there's so many different ways you can do it. You can reach me. Nope, that's not it. There we go. Nope, that's not it. There we go. You can reach me. My email address is guy@mymac.com. You can find me on the Twitters, MacParrot or VertShark over there on the Twitters, as I just said. You can find links to nearly everything I do over at vertshark.com and the MyMac podcast, of course, that I've been doing for close to 9 years now. And how Gaz has managed to put up with me for 9 years, just it blows my mind that he's still doing it after all this time. If you'd like to help support the stuff that I do, and God knows I could use some support, especially with my collapsing stuff over here. You can do a one-time donation over at coffee.com/MacParrot or become a Patreon, patreon.com/MacParrot. Any of those would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And I would like to say thank you to all of you who take the time to watch the craziness that we do each and every week here on the Mac to the Future livecast. And I'm almost afraid to hit the closing credit button based on the opening credits. That just did not work well. It didn't work well at all. So I'm going to hit them.
Post.
And I'm going to see what happens. So say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.